visiting the Potala Palace. We spent our first night at an altitude of over 3,500 meters, with restless sleep and anxious thoughts. I wondered if this might be the last night of my life, fearing I might fall asleep and never wake up again, as the high altitude and harsh weather of Tibet make tomorrow unpredictable. My roommate in the group suddenly sat up in the middle of the night to use the oxygen machine because he could no longer breathe on his own. As for me, I occasionally had a splitting headache, and with my shaved head, I had no hair to insulate and regulate temperature against the cold. It was then that I realized the practical benefits of hair. This is why, after leaving Tibet, I decided to grow my hair back. After a night of tossing and turning, struggling with the severe climate and altitude, we finally welcomed the dawn in Tibet. The time zone in Tibet is currently unified with China's, which is GMT plus 8, 1 hour ahead of Vietnam, GMT plus 7. Lhasa Hotel is large, but from my observation it was not very crowded, with most of the guests being tourists from China and no Western tourists in sight. The hotel served a breakfast buffet, but the food selection was not very diverse, mostly consisting of vegetables. We settled for a bowl of plain porridge and boiled eggs to start the day before hurrying to the bus to visit the Potala Palace, a landmark that anyone with a reverence for Buddhism would feel immensely happy to visit even once in their lifetime. To enter the Potala Palace, we had to queue for a long time, spending over 40 minutes at the security checkpoint. After that, we waited for our turn to have our tickets checked. Tickets to visit the Potala Palace must be booked in advance and are strictly limited. Due to some issues, our group only managed to purchase 3 tickets, while 2 were still unavailable. According to our Tibetan partners, the chances of not being allowed inside for a visit were high. While waiting to purchase tickets, we observed many devout Tibetan Buddhists outside the Potala Palace. They circled the palace grounds in the traditional prostration pilgrimage, a method of reverence known as the 5-part body prostration. In this practice, worshippers begin by kneeling with their right knee touching the ground first, followed by their left knee. Next, they place both hands on the ground with palms facing upward and extend them beyond their forehead. Finally, they touch the ground with the top of their head. This ritual is considered a profound act of devotion, believed to help practitioners overcome worldly desires and achieve spiritual enlightenment. Their prostrations were deeply sincere and solemn, performed with the utmost reverence in every movement. No one knows exactly when or where it began, but the stream of religious faith has deeply embedded itself in the beliefs of the Tibetan people. They revere Buddhist teachings and pray daily as a natural part of their lives. Their faith is simple yet profoundly strong. In traditional Tibetan culture, every family hopes that at least one child will become a monk. When children reach around 9 or 10 years old, their parents often send them to a monastery to study under the lamas for several years. By the time the children are 14 or 15, if they wish to continue on this path, their parents are supportive. If not, they are welcomed back home. Whether they choose to remain in monastic life or return to their families, the spiritual teachings of Buddhism and its compassionate philosophy shape and nurture their souls from an early age. They grow up with a deep sense of altruism and live harmoniously with others, as naturally as they breathe. The essence of Buddhist liberation has clearly flourished strongly in this region. After waiting for nearly 20 minutes and watching the devoted Tibetans who deeply revere Buddhism, luck finally favored us. The guide secured the tickets, and we went inside the Potala Palace. The Potala Palace is the most sacred and impressive Buddhist architectural site in Tibet. Its name, Potala, comes from Potalaka, meaning the palace of the Bodhisattva. It was once the residence and place of practice for lamas who were revered as living Buddhas. Built in the 7th century, the Potala Palace stands as a stunning monument, celebrating the historic marriage between King Songtsen Gampo and Princess Wonqing of the Tang dynasty, symbolizing the political alliance between the Tibetan and Han peoples. King Songtsen Gampo, who became king of Tibet at the age of 15, some sources say 13, was known for his bravery and strategic wisdom. A devoted Buddhist, he respected monks and incorporated Buddhist principles into his governance. He also reformed the declining policies, created a new legal system, and integrated Buddhism into daily life, leading the nation to embrace the faith. Later generations viewed him as the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. Since its construction, the Potala Palace, with its stunning beauty and timeless mystique, had shone like a brilliant sun over Lhasa. The people had always been proud of their magnificent palace. However, fate took an unexpected turn. Legend has it that, on a stormy night, lightning struck the palace, setting it on fire and almost entirely destroying it. After that tragic night, Potala fell into ruin and disrepair. Despite extensive efforts and resources, the palace could not be restored. By the 9th century, Tibet was divided, and the remnants of Potala were further damaged by war. It wasn't until 1652 that the 5th Dalai Lama, Lobsang Gyatso, visited Beijing to meet Emperor Xuanzhi, and after his return, the Potala Palace was officially restored. The overall architecture of the Potala can be divided into two parts: the White Palace and the Red Palace. The White Palace, a large white building, was historically where the lamas conducted important religious and political activities. To fully explore the White Palace, we had to walk many rounds, and without good health and sincere devotion to Buddhism, it would be challenging to complete. Each section of the White Palace has resting spots and water stations, and replenishing water is essential. Otherwise, it would be hard to conquer the Red Palace. The Red Palace is smaller, nestled among red walls, and is the most sacred and solemn part of the palace, located at the top. These two parts are interconnected. After finishing the tour of the White Palace, you will reach the Red Palace. However, you must queue for a long time and it is very tiring. The Potala Palace covers a total area of approximately 130,000 square meters, with around 1,000 rooms, over 10,000 chapels, and countless sacred sculptures. The palace stretches 360 meters from east to west, and over 300 meters from north to south, with 13 floors standing at an elevation of about 3,756 meters above sea level. Inside, there are numerous shrines adorned with ancient murals and a variety of sacred Tibetan religious artifacts. Everything shines brightly in vivid, sunny hues, contrasting with the eerie, cold atmosphere of the endless, maze-like corridors. Compared to sea level, the Potala Palace is the highest palace in the world and the most sacred and mysterious center in Lhasa, visible from any point within the city. After spending more than half a day adapting to the altitude and enduring the harsh weather in Lhasa, our group was overjoyed to reach the final steps of the Potala Palace. It's a pity that the Potala is no longer the residence of the Dalai Lamas, which gives it a somewhat somber and nostalgic atmosphere. We hope the Potala endures forever and look forward to visiting again one day.